Greetings, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. I am your girl, Creatrix, here to drop more beautiful knowledge on you. And I hope that this video is finding you well and in good spirits. And even if you're not in the best spirits, that is okay because you're probably just going through an upgrade and an ascension process. And in order to go through that ascension process, you have to release some baggage. Okay, it has to come up to the surface. So embrace the process. If you don't feel the greatest, just know that very soon you will. Okay, life is a game of push and pull, give and take. All right, so today I have a wonderful topic for y'all, per usual. Today we are going to talk about astrology, all right? Because, I figured that on this channel we speak about a lot of the pitfalls that can happen in this game on this earth realm, right? As players, there's so many illusions and we discuss a lot of the illusions, right? But today I want to discuss a tool that we can use to better play the game, better learn ourselves, better strategize, all right? Even look into our own future and be able to predict some of the things that might happen in our future, all right? Or help us understand what's presently going on in our life, okay? And the first thing that I want to start with is the fact that some people refuse to accept the truth about astrology and the science of astrology, even though our ancestors have left us blueprint upon clue, right, about the science of astrology and how important it is to understand how the planetary bodies affect us as individuals and as a whole in community and society and globally. All right. So we've had so much left to us that there's no excuse. Like if you've ever come upon people, or maybe this could be you, who say, yeah, I know my zodiac sign, but yeah, I'm not into astrology, or yeah, I don't really buy into it, which is fine. That is your prerogative. Every tool that's afforded to us on this earth realm, you don't have to use, right? It's up to you. It's your choice. However, I personally am a winner, and I want to win in this game. Therefore, anything that I can use to my advantage, right? Which obviously what I mean by that is anything that fits into my morals and values, I will use, right, to be able to win. And just as a side note, all right, when I say that I will use anything to my advantage to win, that automatically puts me in a position to only use things that make sense, because anything else is a pitfall. Like, for example, if somebody uses like lies, right, or selling their body or selling their soul to have an advantage in this realm over other people, that's automatically going to lead you into a pitfall. The reason why the Most High doesn't tell us to use our bodies to get money or to sell our souls, or the reason why that's not okay, is because in this realm it doesn't work well, okay? And we will see that when other people do that. You'll be able to observe other people trying out those strategies and failing miserably at it, even if for a moment it could work, right? Like, yeah, you can join a secret society that siphons energy from other people, and it might work. You might get your money up a little bit, you might get some fame, some fortune, people might start giving you attention. But because you haven't done your healing journey, because you haven't properly taken the steps to get to know your inner world and done the whole magician thing, like become your own god, your own powerhouse, you're going to lose your grip over those things. That's why it's not, this concept of sin, we don't buy into that concept. Yet over here on this side, on this channel, we know and we understand that technically sins are just pitfalls that you can fall into in this game. There's no real consequence. Like, nobody in the sky is judging you for committing sins, but the consequences of committing sins are almost immediate, right? Because you're going to find yourself not in a good position, right? But it's not about judging you. It's about, hey, let's win this game. And I'm showing you the blueprint, right? The Bible is a blueprint, is a manual on how to win this game, right? And if it talks about sin, it's not about you're going to hell or you're going to be miserable. Hell is created when we don't heal, when we choose to suffer, right? When we choose to resist the growth and evolution. So that's just a sidebar, and I just wanted to just say that, right? However, when talking about astrology, I am going to use everything that I can to win in this game. And astrology is one of those tools that just makes logical sense to use, okay? The stars have been studied for eons, for centuries, for millennia, since the beginning, right, of human inception on this earth realm, right? We've always been interested in and connected, deeply connected to the stars. Why? Because the same material, the same matter that we're made of, that our avatars are made of, are exactly what the planetary bodies are made of. Okay, and these planetary bodies that I'm going to refer to, whether it's the sun or the moon, even though those technically aren't planets, I'm going to refer them as planetary bodies. Those planetary bodies exist within this earth realm. So just a little bit of structure on what the earth realm is. It's more of a dome, okay, and it's not technically flat. So it's not flat, and it's a dome, and it is a dome, but it's not round. And the reason why it's a dome is because there's a firmament, what people call a firmament, this transparent, translucent, energetic boundary, okay? So within the firmament, on the side of the earth realm, are the planetary bodies. They exist within the earth realm. So they're not as far as you think they are. They're very much so closer. They're not, millions and millions and millions and millions and billion cajillion miles away somewhere, in space. I know I'm not being scientific, but you get what I'm saying. They're actually a lot closer than they appear. And so these planetary bodies, which the bigger ones are obviously the sun, moon, Saturn, Mercury, Pluto, Mars, Uranus, Neptune, right? These planetary bodies, along with some governing stars, right? There are stars that also have an effect on us as well, and these are the constellations, right? The constellations that we consider Aries all the way up until Pisces, right? And there's a 13th one called Ophiuchus, okay? I know that one doesn't get a lot of love, but that's because the Gregorian calendar is a little bit off, and the time frame, the cyclical cycle that we're in, doesn't fit perfectly into 12 months. It actually leaves, I think, four days in 1 month, right? Like the Ethiopian calendar, right? There's 13 months in the Ethiopian calendar, and the last month has only like 4 or 5 days or something like that, right? But anyway, that's besides the point. So what I'm aiming to do at this moment is not to convince you, but to logically lay out why astrology is a real thing, even though it's ridiculous for anybody to believe or to assume that astrology is not a real thing, okay? So these planetary bodies exist within the firmament, and they are constantly communicating with the earth realm, and not only the earth realm, with each other and with us as individuals, okay? And the reason why astrology is so important is because on the day that you are born, right, the day that your soul solidifies as its own being, when you separate from your mother, right, and you're your own being, on that day, the time, the day, the phase of the moon, all of these different things leave an imprint on your soul, on your body. Okay, and these are characteristics that you already have or are contained within you before you are here in your human form. However, those characteristics are drawn out of those specific characteristics that align with your birth chart, right? Which is just a chart that tells you about how all of the planetary bodies are aligned on the day of your birth. Okay, so the characteristics that are conceived or that you can see on your birth chart are drawn out of you on that day for you to be able to play with, to juggle with, to it's like your characteristic or aura's ground for being able to move around. Now, can your aura or can your characteristics evolve out of your birth chart? It's very possible. It's very possible, but the thing is that it's very much so also possible that that evolution will be depicted on your birth chart. So if you are going to evolve out of a certain characteristics, out of a characteristic, it will be in your birth chart. You'll be able to see that in your birth chart. Okay. So that's why astrology is so important, because the energy signature that is in the atmosphere on the day that you are born imprints, okay, and pulls out certain characteristics from your genealogy, from your genetics, that it activates different parts of your DNA to be more present on this specific, in this specific lifetime, in this specific journey. All right. So that's how it scientifically works. All right, because these planetary bodies are gaseous, they are matter, but they're also energetic as well. Just like the sun is constantly beaming rays at the earth realm, so is the moon, so is every other planetary body like Saturn, Venus, Mars, Pluto, right? Every planetary body, they're constantly communicating with each other, and they're constantly moving around, dancing with each other. All right, there's a whole bunch of communication that's happening between the stars, the planetary bodies, the earth realm. And so every single day, as these planetary bodies are moving, every single hour, second, minute is going to be completely different, right? It's literally what makes everything unique, is how these different planetary bodies move and affect us in every second's own unique way. And that unique way will never be the same again. That moment, this moment that we are having right now, the way that the planetary bodies are aligned at this moment, and the stars and their placements and all that, it will never be the same again. It may be similar, it can look similar, but never the same again. Okay, and that's why it's really important to know your birth time so that you can calculate your birth chart. And if you don't know your birth time, there are different ways that you can look into it through divination, even like scientifically through math. You can backwards calculate your birth time to be able to see what your rising sign is and where your house placements are, which are all dependent on your birth time. Okay, so your birth time is very important because that's your energetic signature, as well as the day and the place. All right, geographically it matters as well too, to be able to calculate your birth chart. Okay, so just like us as individuals, as people, right, on a daily basis, we are constantly energetically, physically communicating with each other. Even if we're not in proximity, our pheromones, we're constantly releasing hormones into the air and communicating that way. Right? Our body language communicates to each other as well. There's verbal communication, there's telepathic communication. Just like how we as humans communicate in a various myriad different ways, so do these planetary bodies, all right? And they affect the earth realm, through their energetic rays, through the hormones and pheromones that they themselves release, because they are beings. Okay, they do have souls, they have cyclical cycles, all right? All of this is so detailed and complex, right? And a birth chart, or the study of astrology, is so important to be able to not only understand them, but in understanding the planetary bodies and the stars in general, right? We are able to better understand ourselves, especially when we take a look at the day, time, and place that we were born. So these planetary bodies, if y'all didn't know, I could be talking to some geniuses in the realm of astrology, okay? But I'm going to keep it simple for those who are just starting out or who need a push in that direction, okay? This is your confirmation to go ahead and look into your own birth chart, study yourself, study your own birth chart, because it will open you up to a world that you otherwise maybe not would have been so privy to, okay, about yourself, right? So these planetary bodies, each of them govern specific aspects of this earth. So Saturn governs time, right? And Saturn is literally projecting time onto this realm. The reason why we feel or we perceive that things are moving either quickly or slowly is because of Saturn, right? And our own world, our own auras are perceiving time differently based on where Saturn is placed on our chart, like which house it is, and what zodiac sign it's placed in as well, and what degree it's at. All of these different things and different times that we are on our journey, right? Different legs of our journey will experience time differently. And also it will where Saturn is on your chart and what sign it's in will help you understand your gifts when it comes to time, all right? Or even anything else that Saturn governs, right? Which is also challenges, obstacles. Saturn is a very fatherly energy, right? So like, you know, where you need nurturing in your masculine energy, right? Or some of the issues that you might be going through when it comes to your paternal side of your family, right? What type of issues, or like basically daddy issues you might have to deal with or, you know, evolve through, right? Like learning your Saturn can help you with all of those things, or studying your Saturn placement can help you with all of those things. And there are people who know this stuff down to a T. There are people who study astrology and they're so nice at it. They're so well versed at it. They can tell you everything you need to know about your life. Astrology is a form of divination. Okay, they can tell you about your past, they can tell you about your future, they can tell you about your current predicament, they can tell you at what age what's going to happen, they can tell you you know, what you need to work on, what you need to evolve in. Okay, so astrology is a really specific, unique yet powerful science that is very much so real. All right, and you know, I don't have any skin in the game, I don't do astrology readings, so I don't, you know, I'm not promoting this just for fun. I'm promoting it so that you take advantage of how amazing this science is. Okay. And another thing that I'm channeling that, you know, they need me to talk about is Black Moon Lilith. Okay. Your Lilith placement is another aspect of your journey where you can find difficulties. All right. Where you can find places where evolution and growth is more necessary. All right, Black Moon Lilith is a point on the moon, okay? And where that point is on your moon will tell you where you are suffering from a lot of suppression energy, right? So my moon, my Lilith moon is in Aquarius, right? So I have trouble, or I was suppressing a lot of energy when it came to like social interactions, all right? When it came to even like how I felt in large groups, how people viewed me not wanting to like really face other people, or like feeling outcasted, feeling different, feeling like I just didn't fit in anywhere, right? So I learned all of that, not even by looking at the degree, right, of my Black Moon Lilith or whatever the case is, but just looking at the sign that Lilith is in, and not even the house or anything. I got all of that and it resonates with me, right? And you can get your birth chart as long as you know your time of birth. But even if you don't know your time of birth, you can still figure out what's going on your birth chart with just the place that you were born and your birth date, right? But you can get a more accurate reading if you know the time, right? So yeah, this is why astrology is so important. The planetary bodies do heavily influence us in a myriad of different ways, right? As well as influencing each other. They influence us, they influence each other, and when they influence each other, those are called aspects, right? Like the planetary bodies and how they're aligned, what degree that they are that they are at, they can speak to each other, and those aspects can be identified or translated into like they can be translated into like opposition, into conjunctions, trines, sextiles, different based on their degree, they are categorized as different things, and it can cause tension, right, between two planets. Like, let's say if your Venus is in opposition with Pluto, right, like that could in and of itself bring tension into your life and show you what you can work on, right? And somebody with tension between their Venus and Pluto might have trouble like trusting their romantic partners or something like that. Okay, and so it can maybe show you where you need the extra love and attention at to be able to overcome those hurdles in your life. All right, and it can get real specific. What I'm saying is very general. It can get real specific. Like you could even know like what age or something where those trust issues really appeared in your life, depending on what degree it's at. And yeah, it just gets really specific, right? So astrology is one of those things that just because mainstream science doesn't accept it as logical or real or valid, right, doesn't mean that it isn't, right? Science in and of itself is a cult, is a religion, and they're very dogmatic, right? And they don't make any room for anything that intentionally they do this. They don't make any room for anything that can really help us in this earth realm game, right? Like everything I'm speaking about, there are scientists on a very high level, very high grade scientists that know what I'm talking about. There are scientists that study certain types of people, right? Certain people with certain abilities, and they follow them throughout their life, just studying them and observing them, because they know that these people are different from the actual population, right? They know that there's some ties to the Bible, like, you know, they know that there's such thing as the supernatural. They understand this and they know this, and the information is starting to come out. And later on, there will be a time where astrology is accepted as mainstream science, right? But right now, because astrology is so beneficial to us as people and can cause a lot of chaos in terms of the control and power that these power structures have on the general population at this time, right? It can break spells. It can break the spell of control that these power structures have on the general population if astrology is pushed into mainstream. All right, because as it is now, pretty much those that are already seen as rebellious or spiritually different or in their own lane, pretty much we're the only ones who are using astrology. The average person, they're not really using astrology like that. Like maybe, yeah, I'm a Taurus, you know, what are you? Oh, you're a Sagittarius? I don't know. Oh, you're a Gemini? Oh, you're a Pisces? Oh, I love Pisces. That's pretty much the extent to where people go with it, right? People don't really use astrology for what's for truly their benefit, right? Right now we use astrology as, you know, it's very trendy, which is fine. Like that's fine. I'm all for having fun. I love to ask people their signs and see how their characteristics match up with their sign, or maybe how they don't match up with their sun sign, right? And by the way, our natal chart or our birth chart is made up of so many different moving parts that we can't just look at somebody's sun sign and say, oh, they're like this, right? Because there's so many different placements and houses and things like that. So that's just a side note, right? But yeah, I'm all for the fun and, you know, using astrology for fun and stuff. However, there is a deeper aspect to astrology where you can learn how to dress yourself, you can learn how to style yourself, you can learn how to speak, you can learn about the different characters you're supposed to embody in this journey. You can learn about what elements really match with you and will enhance or complement your spell work, or even down to like the type of foods that you're supposed to eat, right? That's all pretty much laid out in our birth chart. And yeah, as of right now, I feel like we aren't really using it for what it's meant for. We can go deeper, all right? And most importantly, I think we should realize that this is a real science and that this should be studied, and the people who have genuinely studied and um, made it their craft and their life and their enjoyment to learn about astrology and pioneer the stage or the path for astrology in the future, and the depth that it can go, being a channel for the information that's returning back to us. I really applaud those people. And I definitely think that it's worth looking into. It's worth like hitting up these people and saying, hey, can I do a reading? It's definitely worth, yeah, tapping in, or even doing your own research, right? Or even trying to channel or being able to channel the guidance that we need to understand and understand our birth charts for our benefit, right? So yeah, this is the message. I feel like it's a good place to leave it. All right, I love you all so very much. I hope that y'all check out your own birth charts. Okay, I have social media sites other than YouTube that I encourage you to follow me on, especially TikTok, because I do post the most on TikTok. Okay, otherwise, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. All right, otherwise, I will see you in the next video. I love you all so very much. See ya. Creatrix out.